Or what?
They're leaning into woke. Hardcore.
They're petrified of some kind of backlash.
Nobody wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? The outrage.
I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing.
They are pretending like Rachel Zegler is the first of them all when she looks like Lord Farquaad in the film.
Every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse.
The new Disney boss babe, who is Rachel Zegler, the inverse of happy.
So she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
Rachel Zegler, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infantada is the only global solution.
So apparently, according to them and according to the writers of Snow White, women can't even want to be in love anymore.
Now, I'm guessing that she's not married. I'm guessing that she doesn't have kids. The movie is a complete disaster, by the way.
Rachel Zegler, she's an...
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
And, you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
They spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live-action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
Disney thought they were casting a star. Instead, they unleashed a storm. Rachel Zegler's role in Snow White was supposed to be a bold, modern take on a beloved classic. But before the first trailer even dropped, the project was already unraveling, thanks to the woman front and center. At first, it felt promising. A fresh face from West Side Story, stepping into one of Disney's most iconic roles. It had all the makings of a modern fairy tale. But then came the interviews. Rachel didn't hold back. She dismissed the 1937 original as weird and outdated, waving off the classic like it was beneath her. For generations who grew up on that film, her comments hit like a slap, mocking the story that defined their childhood. And just like that, the magic started to crack. But what came next took the backlash to a whole new level.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
She's not going to be safe with the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
Oh my God.
That was the moment fans started to turn. What some saw as confidence, others read as contempt. Rachel's attitude felt less like empowerment and more like mockery. But the real damage came when politics entered the picture. She didn't just express an opinion, she lit a match. In interviews and social media posts, Rachel lashed out at voters of a former US president. Using language so unfiltered, many called it outright hostile. Her words didn't just criticize, she wished those people would go away and never know peace. It wasn't just a controversial comment, it was a line in the sand. And suddenly millions felt like the movie had turned its back on them. But if that sparked outrage, what came next turned it into a full-blown boycott.
So she came out and took a large dump on half of the country, everyone who voted for Trump.
President Rachel Zegler also posted, F Trump kinds of posts on social media. She also said that she hoped that Trump supporters, quote, never know peace.
But you are not entitled to call for Trump supporters to be harmed. Like, you are actually not entitled to do that. And so let me just remind you, Rachel Zegler, of what the map looks like, just so you can understand when your Disney movie is coming out, how many people you are wishing harm upon. Like, this is America right now. I will love you through these 4 years as best I can. F Donald Trump. Yeah, totally stable thing for her to be posting, wishing harm upon Trump voters, wishing that we have no peace.
And they postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could off, excuse me, but she did. That was just in November. They didn't even know she was going to do that one.
Until that point, some audiences were still holding out hope. But after her comments exploded across social media, hesitation turned to rejection. Many didn't just disagree with Rachel, they felt targeted by her. Supporting the film now felt like endorsing someone who'd taken aim at their values. Eventually, she issued an apology, but it came too late, and it came off cold. Critics called it performative, insincere, like she was more annoyed by the backlash than sorry for the words. The damage wasn't undone, it was deepening. And what Disney tried to do next only made things worse.
And then she came out and she said, I apologize. Like, I went too far, but it wasn't sincere.
If you're shaking your head already, drop a like. This story's just getting started, and trust me, it only gets crazier from here.
Disney promised evolution, but what audiences saw felt more like erasure. This wasn't a gentle refresh of a 1937 classic. It was a full teardown, stripping away the story's emotional core and replacing it with cold ambition. Rachel didn't hide her pride in the shift. In interviews, she called the original love story outdated and unnecessary. Snow White doesn't need a man, she said, smiling as she dismissed the very foundation of the tale. It wasn't about rejecting romance, it was about rejecting the soul of the story. And for lifelong fans, that felt like betrayal. But what they changed next, that crossed a whole new line.
The movie has a major identity crisis.
This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
The movie is doing catastrophically. They spent $300 million and it currently has a 2.2 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
I sat through the whole thing. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension: racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
It's got extra musical numbers that are incredibly unnecessary that really add to that runtime. And let me go ahead and let you know that they're absolutely f***ing atrocious.
Disney deleted Someday My Prince Will Come and made a modernized feminist alternative.
They say all you have to do to make your wish come true is let it echo, 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 echo.
It's awful, generic. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. All you have to do to make your dream come true is let it echo. Is it like on a metaphorical level? What does that mean?
One by one, the fairy tale pieces began to vanish. The prince, once a symbol of hope, was reduced to a background shadow. No art, no emotion. Just a blink and you miss it cameo that left viewers confused and disconnected. The queen's jealousy? Once a twisted reflection of vanity and fear, now reduced to a flat ambition for power. No beauty, no obsession, no depth. Then the music changed. Beloved classics were tossed aside for modern songs that critics described as preachy, tone-deaf, and completely forgettable. But the real shock came when Rachel called the original prince a stalker, as if the 1937 romance wasn't charming, but disturbing. To fans who held that film close to their hearts, it felt like the story they loved had been dragged through the mud. And just when it seemed the damage was done, something else resurfaced, and it made things even worse.
And accusing Disney of inserting unnecessary feminism into classic fairy tales.
These big bad feminists now are telling us that's ridiculous. How dare you want to meet a handsome prince and be swept off of your feet and live happily ever after? No, you should want to be the prince. You should want to go out and fight the bad guys with a sword.
So no prince or a different kind of prince? I'm sure a lot of people will assume it's a love story just because like we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Who the hell are you to say all of Andrew's scenes could get cut? Like, who are you? Oh my God. Are you Disney? I've read your book, and I have. It's a phenomenal book. You're losing generation of loyal viewers. When you think about Snow White, what is the premise? What is the story?
It's a love story. It's a love story.
It's a dream for a girl to grow up and a man falls in love.
I'm really upset that the biggest theme here is that it's anti-men. She called him a stalker.
Just as Disney's promotion machine roared to life, it all unraveled again. Old posts from Rachel's social media surfaced, filled with bitter comments aimed at Trump voters. She didn't just disagree with them, she called them vile, said she hoped they'd never know peace. Even people who couldn't stand Trump were stunned by the tone. For a Disney princess, it felt cold, hostile, alienating. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a movie. It was about values, image, and the families Disney was risking. The studio rushed into crisis mode. PR teams tried to clean it up, but Rachel didn't flinch. She hit the talk show circuit and stood her ground. No retraction, no regret, just conviction. And while she defended her stance, the audience walked away.
Because you just can't close your mouth. You just can't be sane, even when you do open your mouth. I think this girl does not deserve a feature-length film, but rather she deserves to be in a padded cell.
Social media didn't forget, and it definitely didn't forgive. She hates half of us, one user posted, and still expects us to buy tickets? That comment wasn't a one-off. It was the echo chamber's pulse. The boycott movement caught fire, and by opening weekend, the damage was already done. But behind the scenes, another storm was brewing. The dwarfs, once the soul of Snow White's charm, were scrapped. All 7. Gone. It started with Peter Dinklage's criticism of the original portrayal. Disney reacted fast, too fast. Instead of reimagining the characters with nuance or respect, they erased them entirely. Leaks revealed awkward CGI placeholders. Rumors spoke of diverse bandits stepping in. It all felt forced, disconnected, and fans knew it. The reshoots came too late. The magic was already slipping away. Thanks for watching.